So I'm a diagnosed narcissist, and I've been in psychotherapy for the past 6 years dealing with it. And a lot of people ask me, what do we talk about in therapy? How do you know, what do you work on in therapy? How do you know what to work on? So when I first go into a therapy session, my therapist always asks me, it's like, what's new? What's going on in your life? And we just start a general conversation with things that might be bothering me, things that things that I can feel like I can work on and things like that, things I can feel like I can do better. That helps me out a little bit, but if there's something on my mind that makes me feel weird, that makes me sweat or feel anxious about talking about, something that makes me feel, like I'm scared to talk about it, then I know I need to say that. Because that's the stuff that brings on the shame, and that's the stuff that brings on the vulnerability. Because therapy without vulnerability is kind of pointless. Like the stuff that, if I feel like I told my therapist that she would judge me for, I know I need to say that out loud. Otherwise, what's the point of going to therapy? Because that stuff right there, the stuff that I'm scared to say, I know that's stuff that I need to work on. So I have to deal with the shame. I have to deal with the accountability, and I have to deal with the vulnerability of saying this stuff out loud and to get help for it. Anybody can go to therapy and tell you how their day is going and work on a little stuff and things like that. It's the stuff that makes you uncomfortable to talk about. That stuff is the stuff that helps you. I was sweating and getting clammy about talking about, me and my wife have the same argument over and over again. I'm tired of it. My therapist says, hey, look, that's because you don't finish the original argument. So if you haven't finished the argument, of course, she's going to want to finish it, no matter if it's 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, a month later. This goes for anybody in therapy, not just narcissists and toxic people, whatever. This goes for anybody. The stuff that makes you uncomfortable to talk about, the stuff you feel like you're holding in, the stuff you feel like nobody else will understand, that's the stuff that you need to talk about in therapy to get the help that you need. You can talk about the small stuff and gossip and things like that, but that's not what's the point of having a therapist? That's the point of having a friend right there. A friend you can gossip with. A therapist is supposed to help you get through these issues and help you understand why you feel the way that you feel. Help you work through childhood trauma and things like that. Because a lot of times, that's the toughest stuff for us to talk about in therapy is our youth, is our childhood, and things of that nature. Things that we might not we probably couldn't defend ourselves from when we were younger, but we are in control of right now. So if you're thinking about going to therapy or you in therapy right now, talk about the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, because that's the stuff that will lead you to the greatest change, that will lead you to the greatest, to feel better about yourself and to get the most from therapy. Because a lot of narcissistic people go to therapy and talk about the little stuff. Talk about the little baby arguments that you're having at home and whatnot. And yeah, could that help out a little bit? Yeah. But it's the big stuff, the stuff that makes you uncomfortable, the stuff that makes you sweaty, getting goosebumps and stuff like that. That's the stuff that's coming to the surface, the vulnerability that you need to talk about to get the help that you're actually seeking. How did I find my therapist, y'all? I went on psychologytoday.com and typed in, help for narcissistic personality disorder. Get vulnerable in therapy, and I hope this helps.